Thank God for the penalty, save Onana. Scott McTominay gave away a penalty, could have been qualifying 10 times harder. Get through the group, but can we go farther? Cause if we come against a team like Barca, that's the L plate for the team like Lerner. Unless we're simply the best like Turner. Woo! Thank God for the penalty, save Onana. Scott McTominay gave away a penalty, could have been qualifying 10 times harder. Get through the group, but can we go farther? Cause if we come against a team like Barca, that's the L plate for the team like Lerner. Unless we're simply the best like Turner. Woo! Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Look, we're back again with another show. Manchester United got the W against Copenhagen. Man United were at home. We got the 1-0. And you know what? It's like a repeat, bro. It's like a repeat of our previous games in a sense where, look, Man United's walking a fine line. We're walking a tightrope. Do you understand? There's chances that Copenhagen scuffed where they could have gone up. You know what I mean? They could have got something from this game. But luckily enough, you know, Onana pulls out some great saves. They obviously ain't clinical enough in certain times. And Manchester United get away with it. And, you know, Man United again through, Maguire gets that goal. It wasn't a worldy goal, but it was something that I wanted to see more from our defenders, more from people like Maguire. Because Maguire, he does so well, you know, when he's up against a defender, pushes up against them, sort of always wins that header when it's in the air. But you would like to see that same ability be applied to scoring goals. Do you know what I mean? He's someone that we bring on off the bench at times. Do you know what I mean? To bring a bit more solidity to the defense if we're trying to hold on to a win. But we can't use that same talent when it comes to going forward and scoring goals for us. So I was glad to see Maguire do that, and I think he made a little joke out of himself, you know, on his social media to say something like along the lines of Maguire's head's massive, along the lines of that. So, you know what? I'm glad that he has a sense of humor. I'm glad, you know, he's gone through a lot. As we can see, this is a guy that got stripped off his captaincy, a guy that was, you know, almost full starting, in other words, you know what I mean, to West Ham. But, you know, the deal weren't right. He decided to keep it professional, get his head down and just say, you know what? I'm going to work my way back into the team. And as much as, you know, a lot of Manchester United fans, including myself, didn't want to see him, you know, in the team because of how he's been performing, I must say I have to give credit where credit's due. You know, in the last couple of games he's come on and he's shown like he's got something about him. He's showing that, you know, he's displacing like Lindelof now. Do you know what I mean? He's the next guy that you call upon whilst Martinez is out, that will partner Varane. And that says a lot. Do you know what I mean? That says a lot. And I have to just commend Maguire, because I don't want to be in a position where I'm just like an agenda against Maguire. I don't want to be in a position where I'm just like, Maguire out for the sake of it, Maguire out. Like, if Maguire is putting up performances like that where he's not giving me any stress, he's doing what he needs to do, he's being aggressive to his man, do you know what I mean, on the front foot, winning that ball, winning those headers, scoring, contributing like that, then why wouldn't you want to have him in the starting lineup? Why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? Especially against teams where you know you can sort of manage it better, not those speedy teams, you know, because obviously you can't do nothing about his speed. Like, Maguire will get burnt for days. But in terms of those teams like Copenhagen, like, you can handle certain teams like that where you're not worried about the speed merchants. Like, I'll be worried, right, for example, if Maguire is up against a Man City, you know, guys like Doku running that M, do you know what I mean? Guys like Haaland with the strength and pace running that M. In the air, it will probably be better, but on the ground, it'll be stressful. And I don't know who's going to be starting against City. It probably is going to be Maguire and Varane, you know, as it's been, because obviously Martinez is not fit. So that's going to be more of a worry. But against that Copenhagen, you know, you have to respect Maguire, you know, and he you know, he's getting those man of the match performances. He got that man of the match performance, and I rate him for it. Do you know what I'm saying? I rate him for it, and he's professional, you know. Look, we've heard about guys like Sancho going through it, you know, maybe not happy because they're not getting enough game time or whatever the situation may be. And we saw how he reacted to that situation, you know. And I know there's a lot of unsaid stuff, a lot of things that we don't know about as fans, you know what I mean? That's behind the scenes. And Sancho insinuated that, do you know what I mean? Where he says, you know, don't believe everything you read and everything like that. But we've seen things played out blatantly in front of our eyes with Maguire in terms of being stripped and publicly embarrassed and being almost shipped off. The ridicule that the fans is giving him, you know what I mean? And he's soldiered through. His mentality is crazy, I must say. Like, he actually believes in himself, even though the fans don't. He believes in himself, and he thinks that, you know, you heard him recently talking about his record when he's playing for Manchester United, when he's in a starting lineup versus when he's not. Like, he has that boldness and confidence. It reminds me of guys like Banter or those ilk, you know what I mean? Like, and that Dean Henderson, that mentality in terms of they believe in themselves as much as, you can say, you're not quite up to speed. The mentality, it's a good thing. I must say it's a good thing, and it's got them to where they are now. Do you know what I mean? So I respect it. And he got that goal, and I was happy about that. It was a close one, VAR close call, but we got that in the end, and we needed that win, because if we didn't get that W, look, Manchester United are packing our bags. We're packing our bags and probably going to Europa League, or maybe not even that. Do you know what I mean? Because 3 losses in a bounce. Oh, bro, do we even deserve to go to, before this game kicked off, right? I was just like, Man United, we might as well just pack our bags, and we might as well just catch it L and just go home, because there's no point in Manchester United with how we're playing, with this whole system of the overloads, and then one midfielder, one DM sitting there, and even that, but not having no spark, not having no energy, not winning the second balls, not converting our chances, not finishing, nothing, goal difference minus. What's the point when you're going up against the upper echelon sort of Champions League teams? You understand? What's the point? What's the point of getting through and scraping by just to get embarrassed? You know what I mean? I'd rather not even have that. Do you understand? Man United are not, we don't need to be getting through the next stages for cash. Do you know what I mean? Every little helps and that, and we had to loan out Amrabat and stuff like that, but Man United don't need that type of chump change. Do you understand? And now obviously you got the takeover happening. I'm sure there'll be more money in the coffers to do what we need to do. So I'd rather just not have that embarrassment. What is the point? You're wasting a spot. Do you understand? Wasting a spot. Go to Europa League. Liverpool's waiting for you there as well. So it's a long thing there. It's a long thing, but do you know what I mean? I can't be saying, I'm angry that when we get a W. I'm ecstatic that we got a W. I'm happy that we got a W, do you know? But I always say, when we play in this style, this game was a balanced type of game between us and Copenhagen. And it's a game that shouldn't be as balanced as it was, do you know? And Copenhagen, yeah, they're doing well in their league. They're leaders of their league. But when you're talking about the Champions League and going to give a good account of yourself, right? Teams like Copenhagen, you need to be dominating them. You know what I mean? You need to establish yourself as, I am the superior team. And in this game, you can't even tell who was the superior team and who was not. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of our games, most of the games that we play, 99.9% of the games that we play, we're losing out in goal different ball possession. Do you know what I mean? We're losing out. Other teams are having huge amounts of spells of possession and play, and we're under the cost. So look, it's one of those ones, but you have to take the positives where you can take the positives. And right now, Manchester United's got those back-to-back wins, a couple in Premier League, and we've got this one in Champions League. And look, we got another massive test against Man City, so hopefully we come through. But just on the style of play, obviously, it was good to see guys like Reguilon back, you know what I mean, and good to see, injured guys slowly starting to make their way through. And I look at Manchester United and I look at how Amrabat was in the DM role. Scott McTominay was well advanced forward. And last season, I remember the issue being, Casemiro can't be left by himself. He needs support. Eriksen didn't have the legs. That's why we brought in Mount, And then I was thinking, it's going to be them guys. Mount is there fit, and I don't know why he ain't starting. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the vision is now, because I thought the vision was to play Bruno, Casemiro, Mount. And now everything's sort of flipping on his head. And even if you haven't got Casemiro, you've got Amrabat. If you're playing Bruno and Mount, you can see the correlation there. You can see that, but he's not playing. Do you understand? So that's a bit confusion there. And then on top of that, where you need a bit more solidity in defense, because again, I looked at the Casemiro thinking, you know what? If only he had another defensive-minded guy next to him, how would that look like? Your likes of your Eriksen or Bruno, whoever's playing in a more advanced position, is allowed to do what they need to do. There's less dependency on the forwards tracking back and needed to support, because you've got two workaholics, you know what I mean? And Amrabat, I was thinking, how would the midfield of Amrabat and Casemiro look? Look, I want to see more of that as well. And we're just not seeing it yet, you know what I mean? It feels like we're going through the season now, 8-9 games in or whatever it is like that, and we still don't know what that starting lineup looks like. We still don't know. Erik Ten Hag may have his preferences, but I still ain't seen a team where I can be like, okay, that's the strongest midfield combination. Whether it's Kobe Mainoo in there, whether it's Amrabat in there, whether you got Mount in there. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know it yet, and that's a bit of a worry, because we need to understand our rivals are all getting it together. Do you know what I mean? The last thing you want is Chelsea getting it together before we do. And they gave a good account of themselves against Arsenal as well. So you're looking at them thinking, they're getting their act together. And Man United need to be the ones that's ahead of the curve here, like, because we ain't gonna have no chance of qualifying for Champions League. We ain't gonna have no chance of getting anywhere in this year's Champions League if we ain't got our act together. Do you know what I mean? We play this system of 3-1-6 or 3-2-5 or whatever it is at times. And the way how I look at it, like, with Man United's goal difference, a minus goal difference, it just seems like we play this rock and roll style football, like I said in previous pods, like, what the conversion rate and the creation for our Hoylands, it's just not enough, and it just makes you feel like, are you benefiting off the system? Are like Man United benefiting off the system that Erik ten Hag is implementing with this overload in the final third? We're not really benefiting from that, but we're experiencing a lot of the disadvantages that comes along with playing that risky style of football, that quick transition football, that quick trying to ping it. Do you know what I mean? That quick where you've only got your defenders as midfielders. We're benefiting the risks to that, because it doesn't matter who we come against. It feels like we struggle to keep a clean sheet. Whether it's Sheffield United, you know what I mean? Whether it's like, it don't matter who it is, we struggle to keep a clean sheet, and that's the risk that comes along with playing the style of football that we play with no midfield. But at least we need to be reaping the benefits of, conversion of the attacks that we're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I saw Garnacho 1-on-1, Bruno hitting a crazy ball to him towards the latter stages of the game, and he takes a heavy touch. He probably could have taken it. He probably took one touch too many. He takes a heavy touch and the opportunity gone. And when you're playing this style of football, look, we need to be more clinical in situations like that. Like, I saw a guy like Kane against Italy, where he don't even have pace like that. Do you know what I mean? A ball got slipped in for him. He's using he put in a bit of acceleration, but he's using his body strength, using his arm, holding off the defenders, picks out his spot, boom. And that's what we need to be more like. We need to be more like that, but we're wasting opportunities, we're wasting chances. And if we're playing a style like this, when we're not controlling the game, do you know what I mean? We've got one guy chilling in midfield. Do you know what I mean? We're not playing like a more stabilized, sort of less riskier style of football. Then we need to be putting these chances away. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like, would we need to be this? Would we need to play this style where we're just overloading if we had guys that are just seriously clinical? Like, if we had Rashford on smoke, if we had Anthony on smoke, if we had, our forward, whether it was, I'm not going to say too much about Rasmus Højlund, because I think he's putting in a shift and he's a quality forward. But if we had, your Martials, again, then were on form and they're very clinical, would we have need to be committing so many guys going forward? Look, it looks like Scott McTominay, he's the supporting striker going forward. Amrabat's left by himself, or we've got a DM slipping into the defensive line. Do you know what I mean? And then again, it's like we've got midfielders in there. One's either doing the patriotic thing and just, high flying in Scott McTominay, even Casemiro at times when he's contributing to the goal scoring, going forward and just well off their position. Or you've got Casemiro, or you've got someone like that dropping back into the back three or whatever it is like that. And it's sacrificing their position where they're more comfortable. Do you know what I mean? And then what you find is your fullbacks going and doing the inverted thing. So you got guys like Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, or Dalot, whoever it is, in positions where it's not natural to them. Do you know what I mean? And it just doesn't make sense. And then your midfield is just left wanting. It doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like we just need a bit of positional discipline, because when Eriksen comes on, let's not get it twisted. Like, Eriksen comes on, the game changes. You know what I mean? He brings a bit more control. You know what I mean? He picks his passes out well. But let's not get it twisted. Like, when he does come on, like, the instructions also change. You're also seeing guys dropping to support him. Do you know what I mean? You ain't got Scott McTominay as advanced forward anymore. And yet it's not surprise. Look, when we had Casemiro and Eriksen, he was sitting in the 8 and not super forward because he ain't got the legs to be doing all of that back and forth thing. Man United had a better run. Like, we was undefeated at home, or almost undefeated at, our home record is crazy. Like, you can see that midfield is very key for us going forward. We need to get it right. Do you understand? But when you've got guys galloping, and yeah, they're getting their goals here and there, galloping and, getting further forward and then leaving the midfield unattended, look, you can see we're struggling. So we need to, I think that's the key, get that midfield sorted. That is the key. Do you understand? And like we're just getting really lucky, man. Onana pulls off a great save. He pulls off a wondrous save, and I was happy for Onana because of all of the stick, all of the stress he was going through. I could just see the memes waiting for him. Do you understand? He pulls off a great save, like the last kick of the game, literally the last kick of the game. And even when he was celebrating, he was telling guys, "No, get back on, like get tuned in." And then he realized like it was the end of the game, and then he celebrated. He turned to his fans and he sort of did this. And for me, he needed that, man. Onana needed that. He's playing it a bit more safer. He's getting back to the basics, shot stopping, because we need a keeper that can actually save goals. We don't need a Pirlo in goal. And he's doing that. Do you know what I mean? He's making some interesting saves, so I was happy for him. But I was just worried as well that, you know, Manchester United is giving away a penalty opportunity in 3 of our Champions League games. Do you know what I mean? And it's not on. We need to be more switched on, more clued on. And Scott McTominay twice now, the culprit. He'll go on and score, do some great things, and then he gives away a penalty like this. It's not good enough, man. It's not good enough. We can't be a team that don't score frequently, don't create chances as fluidly as we do. Can't be going away, giving away cheap penny claims. We can't be doing that. So we need to fix up. We really need to fix up, man. That high boot in the box is risky, man, from Scott McTominay. Very risky. Obviously, it led to a penalty. And I'm just happy that Onana stepped up, man. He stepped up. I really am happy, man. And the guys that has been getting ridiculed in your Maguires and your Onanas has had to show strong mental resilience. Do you know what I mean? And they have been professional. I'll give them that. They've gone through the trenches, especially Maguire, and coming out on the other side and showing Manchester United, you know, they're showing Manchester United why they still got a place in the team at this current time. But obviously, you know, we want better, man. We do want better. Do you know what I mean? We really do want better. I don't want us to miss out on a solid centre back just because Maguire's in a bit of form. And again, with Onana, man, look, if he continues to do what he's doing, look, De Gea is still free the last time I checked, you understand? But look, I'm happy we move on, we progress. It's Manchester City next. I don't know what that midfield's going to look like, whether Eriksen gets brought back into the fold, whether McTominay keeps his place because he's been in decent form. Is Casemiro going to get brought back in? Do you know what I mean? Because he seems to be fit now. He's training. Mount as well. He was rested for a few games. Is he going to come back into the starting fold? Are we going to see a cameo appearance of Manu at least on the bench? Like, what's going to happen? Is Bruno going to go to the right? I don't know what's going to happen, but all I know, that front three is probably going to look like, well, at least the front two is going to look like Rashford and Rasmus Højlund. That I'll probably be more sure about, you know what I mean? But let me know your thoughts anyway. Let me know who you feel was the man of the match against Copenhagen. Obviously, I told you mine is Maguire. Let me know what you feel will be the starting lineup against Manchester City and what the scoreline will be. Look, Manchester United is at home. Small glimmer of hope, but it's not enough. Again, City's not in fine form. But again, man, City, they turn, and the way we're playing, I don't expect nothing but an L. I don't want to be defeated or anything like that, but do you know what I mean? I've got to be a realist at the same time. But let me know your thoughts, man. Until next time, peace.